Test one, test two, test three. My audio software just died, so I had to update it, and I didn't have a chance to test it by recording a video in OBS. So if I can get some feedback, that'd be great. In other news, I mentioned it in the general channel on my Discord that there's an option in the chat extension I'm using to spit out the Discord general channel into chat. So that should be good. Audio good? Good. And I know the chat function should be working because I tested it earlier. Actually, I'm going to run a little test myself. Test. Boop. Hey, and it shows up. Ain't technology grand? Okie dokie. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Why the U.S. is suddenly expanding its claims on ocean seabeds. I recently covered this in terms of I forget what country it was. I think it was like Norway or something. Uh, being all brouhaha about oh, we really shouldn't rape and pillage the bottom of the ocean for resources, and this is why I was talking about these oceanic nodules. Let's see. The seabed contains nodules of copper, cobalt, and manganese, all of them essential for energy transition. The United Nations runs a commission of the limits of continental shelf to help educate who owns, or rather, who has the exclusive rights to the ocean bottoms around the world. Spoiler alert: whoever can defend it. It's not difficult to see that in the race of mineral essentials for a future of our complex technology-driven society, force rather than law may govern who gets the minerals at the bottom. See, literally next line. You and I, Kurt Cobb, you and I are on the same page. Okay, so it's just a preamble about like how we've both in terms of like oil and minerals, like like as far as like soft rock and hard rock geology, both sides of the equation, we've already got most of all the easy stuff right now. So in terms of like petroleum, so all the easy stuff is got. So now we're doing stuff like fracking. And in terms of hard rock geology, we got most of the easy stuff now. So now what we're doing is looking at stuff that we haven't looked at before. In this case, under like seabed nodules. And long story short of what those are is uh, through like VMS deposit, like VMS deposits and some similar geological processes, you get like little clumps of ore-rich rocks as little like clumps on the bottom of the seafloor and stuff. And pretty much when it comes to economic geology, what you're doing is you're looking for like like for nature to concentrate what you want. So in my in this case, it's like metals, like base metals or precious metals and stuff. Nature through different processes will concentrate the good stuff for you. All you have to do is go there and get it, and that's like economic geology 101. But of course now with the if in terms of like mining the seafloor and stuff, the environmentalists are like, ooh, we don't want to disturb the seafloor, ooh, all the usual shit and stuff. And so I remember covering before uh, of like United Nations and Norway and places like that. They're kind of hemming and hawing about getting the place, laws to not destroy a place, which I agree with on principle and stuff. But they're just making busy work and virtue signaling and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen, whether they want it or not. Yeah, talking about how like back in the day we mined out easy stuff, and then through heap leaching refining methods and stuff, we were able to get more stuff out of what we got, and yada yada yada. And of course, now it's getting to the United Nations runs the Commission of the Limits of the Continental Shelf. That's already on my shit list because it's from the United Nations to help educate who owns, or rather who has those rights to the bottom of the ocean. Blah blah blah. That's why the United States has couched its most recent assertions about the U.S. rights in the ocean by the language of the claims, since these claims overlap with those of Russia, Canada, Japan. Because U.S. possessions in the Pacific and Bahamas, the Commission will ask to work out a proposed allocation. And that's about it. So again, this is like a meteorology thing that I've always had an interest in, and I've been following this the development of deep sea mining thing, because like the next two frontiers when it comes to mining, like all mining right now we've done on land, like be all end all the mining we've done on land, and the next frontier is going to be at the bottom of the ocean. Everyone kind of has like their eyes on the sky in terms of like space mining and stuff. That's inevitable. Inevitable. We're going to be mining asteroids and all that stuff, whatever. But before that happens, like you have to think in terms of economics. It's going to cost a lot of money to mine out in space. So before that, what we're going to end up doing is just a matter of operations. It's like, okay, we're going to go for the next easy stuff, which is going to be at the bottom of the ocean. It's not going to be nearly expensive going up to space, but it's still going to be more expensive and a little more difficult than just mining on land. That's just the way it is. But first, we're going to go to the bottom of the ocean, and then we're going to go off to space. That's just how it's going to play out. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, that's that. Ah, Biden angry with Republicans trying to stop kids seeing gay porn. Now, what this is about is Biden had another soundbite moment where he say like them Republicans are taking the books from the kids. He failed to mention the books are the those sex pest books that parents will get kicked out of PTA meetings if they start reading them because it's like too graphic for the setting, but it's perfectly okay for the kids to read. Those are the books in question that the quote unquote evil Republicans want to get rid of. Excuse me, what the fuck? Yeah. So for a good while now, like a lot of leftist sex pest teachers and stuff, they'll have like books. Fuck, there's a shit ton. I can never remember because I just don't want to think about them. They're like like the gay and lesbian books, tranny books and stuff. But some of the shit is really graphic. Some of them have legitimate like they're effectively like cartoon Kama Sutras that they're putting in kids' libraries and letting and showing kids, like sex techniques and stuff. It's not like like teenager stuff. It's like little kids, and that's the shit the Republicans want to get rid of. It's like this is literal smut. You're showing impressionable young kids. It's like no, get those fucking books out of the kids' library. That's what the Republicans are on about. But Biden and the rest of the Democrats are like, oh no, they want to censor and burn books like the Nazis and stuff. But it's like they're not. But what the Biden and them are omitting from that statement is what exactly is the subject matter of said books that they're trying to get rid of. So of course, get rid of the porn so little Timmy doesn't see porn at school. That's very much what it comes down to. Let's see. As okay, yeah, it goes into it. As we repeatedly highlighted, the specific books being referred to, titles such as "Gender Queer," "All Boys Are Blue," contain overly sexual themes and pornographic imagery. Even the author of "Gender Queer" admitted that the book is not suitable for children. Biden and Democrats kept pushing the lie that conservatives are on the quest to ban books. Yep. When asked about the subject, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz claimed that they're trying to ban Charlotte Webb, which is not true. That's the thing. They'll obfuscate and misdirect, and it's like they want to ban Charlotte Webb. It's like no, motherfucker, we want to get rid of we want to get rid of that porn and that sex alphabet soup stuff that you're trying to push onto the kids, like the fucking grooming degenerate pedos that you are. That's what they're doing. As we noted, Wells has overseen efforts to enshrine transgender surgery on children as legal right in the state. Fuck that guy. And yeah, that's all this is. Yeah, because during a radio interview, he just Biden in his dementia glory just parroted what he was told, and that was that. But of course, it goes throughout the entirety of the Democrats at this point, especially going into the election in an election year and stuff. Shit like this here is just going to go fucking hog wild. You know, hold on to your butts. It's going to get wild. Okie dokie. Lawfare against Trump is running out of gas. Prosecutors are discovering that the more they seek to rush to judgment before election and gag Trump from speaking publicly about these proceedings, the more he rises in the polls. Yes, Trump right now. Okay, I I have a proposal for the internet. We should rename the Streisand effect to the Trump effect, because I swear to fucking God, Donald Trump is the living embodiment of the Streisand effect. The more that they try to kick him down, the more popular he gets. It's fucking insane. We should dispense with the tired narrative that four contentious states and federal prosecutors, independently and without contact with the Biden White House or the radical Democrats in Congress, all came to the same disinterested conclusions that Donald Trump should be indicted for various crimes and put on trial during the campaign season of 2024. Prosecutors began accelerating their indictments only once Trump started to lead incumbent Joe Biden by sizable margins in the head to head polls. Moreover, had Trump not run for the presidency or had been in the same party as most of the four prosecutors, he would have never been indicted by any of them. Blah, blah. In truth, each succeeding cycle of corrupt left-wing lawfare ends in failure, Russian collusion hoax, the weaponized first impeachment, trying ex-President Trump in the Senate as a private citizen, the laptop disinformation setup, the alpha banking pink caper, blah, blah, blah. We've seen all these at this point. Now, after years of delays and dead ends, all four are rushing to synchronize their trial dates to ensure that the front-running Trump is on the docket daily and not out on the 2024 campaign trail. Here's a little funny kicker about that point specifically. Trump has no-showed all the Republican get-togethers and panels and stuff. Like anything with all the Democratic, not Democrat, all the Republican candidates right now. Trump's just fucked off all them stuff, and he's still leading all the polls, which is fucking hilarious. It's like, yeah, it's like Trump right now is like, yeah, I'm gonna be the front runner at this point. It's not. It's kind of waste of time. Oh shit. The phone call, total proof of insurance, blah blah blah. Okay, so we learned allegedly that Willis hired. Okay, yeah. So we're talking about one of the prosecutors that's going after Trump right now. She had a little bit of a boo. So allegedly, she hired her stealth boyfriend Nathan Wade as a special counsel the day before he filed for divorce, whose records were then mysteriously sealed by the court. That Wade so far has received over $650,000 as special counsel, reportedly including a miraculous ability to charge for 24 hours of continuous legal services in a single day. If you're gonna commit fraud, look both ways before you cross the fucking street, you fucking retard. That Willis and Wade allegedly have used her green-lighted windfall to him to go on a number of pricey junkets and cruises. That to try an ex-president and leading candidate for 2024 presidential election, Willis picked Wade, who had never tried a single felony case and was previously a personal injury accident lawyer. That supposedly apolitical Willis had consulted with the January 6th partisan congressional special committee, while Wade had met for a marathon of meetings with the Biden White House legal counsel and apparently billed Georgia taxpayers for receiving such federal tutorials. This shit doesn't, I can't even say it glows. This shit is just straight up incompetence. If you're going to commit fraud, don't be fucking incompetent. You're going to commit a crime. Do not be an idiot and an incompetent. Sadly, we all know what the case is here. The legal community's initial dismissal of the sordid prosecutor's office is reminiscent of the immediate efforts to downplay Claudine Gay's plagiarism, but the charade will eventually end up the same way, and in this case with the resignation and likely indictment of the prosecutor along with her boyfriend who concocted quite a scheme at the expense of taxpayers. Both have made a mockery of their indictment of an ex-president, and if allegations are true, will be disbarred and prosecuted. I certainly hope so, because this is a lot of fraud, a lot of high-level fraud. This is a level of fraud I wouldn't have the balls to do. The other three indictments are even weaker. Alvin Bragg claims that Donald Trump efforts near a decade ago enact non-disclosure agreements and payments to remain silent about embarrassing behaviors constitute campaign finance violations, blah, blah, blah. Letita James, apparently for the first time in New York history, believes a bank was somehow wronged when its seasoned auditors viewed Trump assets prove a loan to him profited from his timely payments of interest and principals and lodged no complaints against Trump or his company. Wow, even the Jews sign off on Trump. For shame. As far as Jack Smith, he supposedly was focused on Trump's removal of classified presidential files to an insecure location as Mar-a-Lago home. Trump's insurrectionary actions of January 6th, but we all know how that was in that he declassified them and he was perfectly fine to do so. Biden didn't, and he had them in a less secure place. And as far as January 6th goes, fuck, that's beaten to death at this point. That was just one giant 24-hour gay up. Yeah, so it's kind of funny, like for the entirety of Trump's presidency, nothing stuck, and for so like the entire election cycle, nothing stuck. His entire presidency, nothing stuck. This election cycle, nothing stuck, and come his next presidency, hopefully, nothing's gonna stick because it's so fucking stupid. Goddamn. And again, like it's one giant case of they're not sending their best, and that's a good thing for once. Let's see. FDA launches fresh bid to toss out high-profile ivermectin case. Haha, this one. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is seeking to persuade a federal court to dismiss a lawsuit challenging its repeated advisories against using ivermectin to treat COVID-19. TLDR in this one here. The FDA said, "Don't take ivermectin." They said this on Twitter. They told every doctor in the country. They said to Haven, "Do not take ivermectin." But here's the kicker about the FDA: they are not legally allowed to do that. That is beyond their purview. The FDA exceeded its authority by repeatedly issuing public directives to not use ivermectin for COVID-19, even though the drug remains fully approved for human use. And I remember this tweet like it was yesterday. You are not a horse. Stop it with the ivermectin. It's not authorized for treating COVID. Yes, even though a bunch of doctors said gave it to their patients for treatment and it fucking worked. Funny how that works. The government motion came after appeals court found the FDA likely overstepped its authority with warnings. Spoiler, it did. The FDA can inform, but it has identified no authority, allowing it to recommend consumers stop taking medicine. The U.S. Circuit Judge Don Willett, an appointee from former President Donald Trump, wrote in the ruling. Based. The FDA is wrong. Plaintiffs have suffered interference with their practice of medicine and the doctor patient relationship, economic harm, reputational harm, and increased exposure to malpractice liability, and has been subjected to disciplinary action proceedings and forced resignation, all which clearly trace to the FDA's campaign against ivermectin and would be remedied by equitable relief. I would argue that there should be a bit of interest on top of that. Punitive damages, if you will. Make a point. That's just me. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this will pan out. Next. Oh, this Fanny opens up. Fulton County District Attorney says you cannot expect a black woman to be perfect and save the world. All right, Fulton County, Georgia, District Attorney Fannie Willis implied she was guilty of something, telling a Sunday congregation at the Big Bethel AME Church ahead of Martin Luther King Jr. Day that you cannot expect a black woman to be perfect and save the world, and we need to be allowed to stumble. Now, what's all the hullabaloo about this? Willis has come under fire. A private attorney in the midst of a divorce who has little to no experience trying felony cases, much less complex RICO actions, according to a 127-page filing but in former President Donald Trump's 2020 election trial in Georgia. Wade ended up pocketing nearly $700,000 from the Fulton County taxpayers, in which he allegedly took Willis on lavish vacations. Also billed taxpayers $2,000 to talk at the Biden White House about prosecuting Biden's political opponent. Yep, it just doesn't stop. Willis then played the double reverse race card, saying, I'm a little confused. I appointed 3 special counselors. It's my right to do so. Paid them all with the same hourly rate. They only attack one. I hired one white woman, blah, blah, blah. A black man, blah, blah, blah. She also hired a white man, blah, blah, blah. They're playing the race card when they constantly think I need someone from the other jurisdiction in some other state to tell me how to do a job I've done for almost 30 years. Did the other 2 attorneys she hired take her on lavish vacations? Yes, a noggin. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan will get to the bottom of it after launching an investigation into Wade. According to a recent court filing, you have been paid more than $650,000 at the rate of $250 an hour to serve as an attorney consultant and later a special assistant district attorney in unprecedented investigation and prosecution of the former president and other former federal officials, wrote Jordan in a Friday letter reported by Just the News. These filings also allege that while receiving a substantial amount of money from Fulton County, you spent extravagantly on life vacations with your boss, Miss Willis. Yep. So, I imagine I'm going to be talking about these 2 in the next coming while, because it tickles my fancy for how bad this is. Okay, this is going to be the first of several news articles about Davos, because if you haven't heard, the annual meeting at Davos is going on right now. Okay, so we're going to start with Dark Davos escort services completely booked as the World Economic Forum begins. The 54th annual gathering at the World Economic Forum begins today in the small alpine resort town of Davos. The invitation-only meeting brings nearly 2,800 leaders from 120 countries together to discuss the world's most pressing topics such as climate change, artificial intelligence, and virus pandemics. AKA shit to control you and me. Let's not kid ourselves. After world leaders, politicians, business leaders, academics, NGOs, and religious leaders debate global problems and attempt to find solutions to issues plaguing the world, there's an after-hours scene that is very dark. Almost like involves prostitutes. As we explained previously. What's on the menu this year? Well, New York Post described caviar, magic mushrooms, gold leaf desserts, A-list selfies, and $2,500 per night hookers and secret dinners. Yep. All local service providers are completely booked during the World Economic Forum week, confirms owner B. Conrad. The explanation: people kept themselves to themselves in Davos. Their partners mostly stay at home. In addition, alcohol and parties contribute to high demand for services, according to the co-founder. Apart from that, there are many customers in Davos who are not price sensitive and who value privacy of our app all the more, explains Conrad. In general, it's less about sex, more about the so-called girlfriend experience. Let's not get ourselves. if you're paying damn near $3,000, there better be fucking sex. For $3,000, woof. The pretense of intimate relationship, depending on the customer, booking takes between 4 and 12 hours. Sex worker Mia May said, adding the cost of her services about 2,000 francs, aka 23 to 40. Aside from the unspoken dark Davos nights, World Economic Forum trying to rebuild trust. Good luck with that. This comes after populist movements swept across the Western world following political and corporate elites who mismanaged the COVID crisis and pushed failed social and economic policies that have sparked outrage among the majority. A symptom of this failure is President Biden's imploding polling data. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, no, wait, this one's important. We face a fractured world and growing societal divides, leading to pervasive uncertainty and pessimism. We have to rebuild trust in our future by moving beyond crisis management, looking at the root cause of the present problems, you guys, and building together, a more promising future. Klaus Schwab, aka Herr Schwab, the WEF Führer. We doubt World Economic Forum will be close to rebuilding trust as the majority are catching on to these virtue signaling elites who roll up in private jets and petrol guzzling motorcades to discuss climate change and get their dicks wet with hot Swiss pussy. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, I mentioned this. I mentioned this guy in the other day, just scrolling through my news feed. So this piece of shit. President of Canadian LGBT organization arrested on child sex abuse charges. Yet another advocate for LGBT engagement with children has apparently been caught doing a lot more than community outreach. Might be a little bit of community inreach. Hey-oh. Sean Gravels, an outspoken LGBT activist and president of LGBT pride organization in Canada called North Peace Pride Society, has been arrested on multiple charges, including sexual exploitation of a child under the age of 16 and possession and distribution of child pornography. What a guy. The alleged offenses all took place in or near Fort St. John, BC, northeast of Vancouver. And I just realized there's a St. John in Newfoundland and there's a St. John in BC, so there's a St. John on either end of the country. I did not know that. I think the one on the east is a lot less degenerate. They may be a lot more drunk. I'm pretty sure most of them aren't diddling kids. I'm gonna probably stick my neck out on that one. The interference and exploitation charges were initiated on December 29, 2023, while child pornography charges occurred December 31st. North Peace Pride Society quickly removed Gravels as president upon news of his arrest, and in a statement made to their Facebook page, they asserted even though the group sponsors youth events, Gravels was not involved directly with children. Bull shit. You don't get to be the president of a fucking alphabet soup organization and being a pedo and not interact with kids. I'm sorry. You got in a position of power to deal with kids. That's all it comes down to it. This chuckle fuck had this guy had one-on-one coaching sessions with kids. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Blah blah blah. Held Team Pride Nights at Fort St. John Library under direction of Sean Gravels. In the image below, you can see Gravels on the left with representatives of MPS giving sponsorship check to library fund youth events. Get away from that baby, Sean. Get away from it. Arrests of prominent LGBT activists for child abuse are becoming rather common. Yeah, no shit. Only a week before the detention of Sean Gravels, a well-known trans woman, read male, activist by name Kendall Steffen was arrested in Philadelphia, charged with rape of two young boys. Multiple leftist activists with influential positions in media have been arrested or convicted of child sex abuse charges and pornography in the past year, including two senior producers from ABC and CNN. There was also one from BBC a while back ago, as well as Slade Shelmer, the former managing editor of CNN's now defunct Be Me video, and co-manager of a kids' summer camp called Camp Power. Oof. Then there was a gay activist couple from Georgia that was arrested in the beginning of 2023 after adopting two boys. The couple allegedly abused them, then trafficked them to a pedophile ring. Fucking walking demons. And how about Oregon teacher activist Kensley Bourne, who mentored 11-year-old drag queen and was later convicted on child pornography charges? Bourne was sentenced to less than a year in prison in 2023 for 11 felony counts of encouraging child sex abuse. Fucking wood chipper. Just skip jail. Just straight into wood chipper. Huck it right into wood chipper. For many decades, there were good people within the gay community that worked diligently to separate themselves from historical assumptions that they're inclined to target children. Unfortunately, much like the burned furs in the furry community, they saw the degeneracy writing on the wall, and they tried their best to gatekeep. But unfortunately, their efforts were in vain, and the degenerates won. But today, radical LGBT activists are proving these assumptions correct by burning down whatever goodwill the community might have built up in the past. Their insistence on forcing trans and gender fluid ideology in the schools and exposing young children to sexualized concepts and imagery have has given rise to a reasonable public suspicion that the end goal of the LGBT movement is not acceptance of different views, but outright predatory grooming of the next generation. Yep. It's almost like people might have called this. Many such cases. Many such cases. Do 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 do. Epic fail. Supreme Court of the United States rejects Apple's appeal on the App Store tyranny case. I covered this a while back. But here's the update I was looking for. Amid copyright problems with its watch, Apple faces more problems this morning as its cash cow App Store revenues could take a hit after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to consider the tech giant's appeal in an antitrust case with Epic Games. Can't believe I said it last time and I'll say it again. I can't believe I'm rooting for Epic Games of all things in this instance. It's like two assholes versus each other, but I'm rooting for the lesser asshole in this instance. The decision will allow the appeals court ruling to go into effect that lets developers direct iPhone users to cheaper purchasing options outside of Apple's system, a decision that will likely affect billions of dollars in revenue for the iPhone maker. The company charges developers a commission as much as 30%, which is why you shouldn't. Spoiler alert, if you have to buy something in the Apple Store, don't. Even like microtransactions, if you go in the game microtransactions, there's going to be a 30% charge on top of that there because Apple takes a cut. So it's like, just don't buy anything on an Apple product. Just don't buy Apple products to begin with, but if you have one, don't buy anything on them. As a reminder, Epic lost its product claim against Cupertino, California-based Apple was violating federal antitrust law, and the justices also rejected Epic's appeals Tuesday. But as Bloomberg reports, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals found last year that Apple violated California's unfair competition law by limiting the ability of its developers to communicate about alternative payment systems. The decision would let developers circumvent those commissions by including links to process payments on the web instead of within Apple system, though the appeals court put that on hold while the Supreme Court appeal was pending, and now the stay is over. Thank fucking God. Apple share price is down 2.5% in early trading after this headline. Look at it go. Last month, Epic won jury trial against Google and its Play Store for apps on Android phones in a lawsuit mirroring its actions against Apple. A federal judge must determine what changes Google will have to make to its Play Store. So it's like, yeah, like the two giant walled gardens, that is the Google Play Store and the Apple Play Store. Fucking the U.S. Supreme Court came in with big dick energy and just upended the table and say, deal with it, bitches. First good thing Epic has done since Threat in 2004. Yeah, it's kind of wild. It's like it's asshole versus, like I said, it's asshole versus asshole. But I'm rooting for this particular asshole in this instance. Does not friend make. Oh god. And also, I have a little bit of an aside. I just want to show people. Save screenshot. Picture, image, browse. This is a me thing, but I open. Okay, so before the chat extension I'm using now is called it's a social stream. I posted it in the Discord, and the the doc version of it. So like what you do is you have an extension in your browser and you select all of your options, and it'll spit out at HTML it'll spit out an HTML. Uh, uh Not HTML. It'll spit out a URL, and you copy and paste the URL into OBS, and you can have it as a source, which is what you're seeing on screen. And you can also copy and paste that very same URL into your docs, and that way I can have chat in OBS, even though it's like like my OBS like preview windows look little tiny and stuff, but I can have a dedicated chat doc in OBS. Now, before I was because I was looking at the options to looking at the options to have Discord integration so that Pipkin can talk and chat via Discord. One of the other options I saw was that the URL can be edited, because I went to the GitHub page for it and stuff, and I reread for like the fifth time at this point the the FAQ, and if with a couple of edits to the URL, the doc portion of that URL, I can edit how the chat doc looks. Now, before it was like name, big ass space, and then the message was kind of like all scrunched up in the corner and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is kind of defeating the purpose of being able to read. But then there's an option, right, for the doc right now, and I just open it up where you just add an extra couple of characters to the end of the URL, and then it formats the chat doc the way it really should look like, whereas it's compact, where you have your like information and your message like right there, and not like a lot of dead space. I like this. I'm spending way too much time on talking about this, but I fucking love it. Ooh. Go back to my default mug. Okie dokie. Moving on. Doo-doo-doo. Thrust into a waking nightmare. Alaska Air passengers sue Boeing after door blew off 737 MAX 9 mid-flight. I get to more point. Okay, so at 737, the door, Alaska Airlines door blows off. Okay, and then we joked about it, and then talked about like having competent people build and fly and manage these planes and stuff. And we got that our run out of that. Now, let's see. Now, legal liability deluge the beginning. According to Insurance Journal, 7 passengers on the flight are seeking class action status and suing for physical injuries and emotional trauma. The complaint reads: the pressure change made ears bleed, and combined with low oxygen, loud wind noise, and traumatic stress made heads ache severely. Passengers were shocked, terrorized, confused, thrust into a waking nightmare, hoping they would live long enough to walk the earth again. The force of the depressurization ripped the shirts off a boy, sucked cell phones, other debris, and much of the oxygen out of the aircraft. The suit continues. Passengers feared they would not survive the flight. Some prayed. Some texted the family to express trepidation. Some gripped flesh on one another. Some adult passengers were crying. Most were eerily subdued in their collective helplessness state, muted with mask on. During the flight, sudden decompression occurred once the door detached, leading to emergency landing. The video Footage captured during the incident. The emergency exit can be seen torn off and oxygen masks deployed. There were no reports of serious injuries. Aviation blog Airwave magazine wrote in a note about the incident earlier this month. Passengers aboard flight 1282 reported a sudden and loud noise similar to explosion, followed by a detachment of the left door plug from the aircraft, result in the rapid and forceful decompression of the cabin, the chief says. A report added the Boeing is currently under investigation by U.S. regulators due to incident, and Boeing did not comment on a lawsuit. David Calhoun, Boeing's CEO, acknowledged that an issue concerning quality has impacted the safety of one of their jets, though the specifics of the problem are still being determined. Spoiler alert: it's not just the pilots, it's not just the air controllers, it's also building these planes. I swear, don't quote me on that, but I swear on a couple of articles, like maybe a month or two ago, I did cover specifically the diversity, the diversity hires is not just pilots and that there, it's also like mechanics and stuff, like people building and maintaining these planes, like that diversity bullshit is also affecting that. So of course the fucking thing's falling apart. It was shoddily built by a bunch of diversity hires. Duh. We're gonna be seeing more of this, and it's gonna get ugly before it gets better. Oh, what we have. Progressive lawmakers line up behind costly fix for errors that made in renewable energy plan. Okay, I remember reading this. So, when Congress voted to spend hundreds of billions to switch electricity production to solar and wind, they forgot something: transmission lines. New ones will be needed going to locations of new power sources, but nobody bothered to figure out who will pay for it and how much it will cost. Spoiler alert, it'll be you. It's going to be a lot, as is always the case. Congressman Sean Casten, Democrat, Illinois, and Mike Levin, Democrat, California, introduced a bill last month to fix their emission largely at your expense. The bill has already picked up 76 co-sponsors, including 8 from Illinois. Fuck Illinois. Fuck Chicago. I say that because I think I'm going to be talking about it in one of these other coming tabs. In 2022, Congress passed a mislabeled Inflation Reduction Act, which costs an estimated $1.2 trillion, far exceeding initial claims. The IRA it actually was the largest energy bill in the U.S. history. Tax credits for renewable energy production, among the biggest elements of the law, are estimated to cost $263 billion dues. Holy shit. No cap was placed on those tax credits, and they were generous, 30% of projected costs. That's part of the reason for the cost with overrun, but it also means that new solar, in production projects are underway. All the better, says IRA supporters. Come on, you black and tans. Now, however, there's widespread bipartisan recognition that those projects are futile without transmission linking them to the electric grid. Progressive economist Paul Krugman, for example, cheered the IRA. I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously. when you say IRA, I'm sorry, but in collective consciousness, that's taken up by something else. Get a different name, or just don't use an acronym. But I'm sure this reporter specifically is doing it on purpose for that reason. Disparately, New York Times, need a third bureaucratic miracle to fix the electricity grid and make the whole thing work. Gaston, also an avid IRA supporter, now amidst the gravity of the problem, saying that 80% of the clean energy progress we made in the Inflation Reduction Act will be lost unless we reform transmission and permitting. Enter Gaston Levin with the Solution in Clean Energy Transmission Acceleration Act, CETA. And it just does not stop. Which they introduced House last month. What's in it? More tax credits, which they say is more subsidies by taxpayers. 30% tax credit would go towards qualifying new transmission lines going to renewable sources. The total amount of credits available is again uncapped. These fuckers never learn. It's almost like it's intentional. Stop noticing. That's just part of a 210-page bill. It would also amend the IRA to let the Department of Energy finance transmission facilities designated by the Department of Energy as national interest. Okay, well, you're the grid should be under the purview of the Department of Energy as a national interest anyway. It seems a little redundant. If it's not actually the case, then that's retarded. But I continue. It would give the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission exclusive sitting citing citing authority for national interest transmission lines, directing FERC to base its decision to exercise such authority on factors that include enabling the use of renewable energy. That's important because it appears to be an attempt to override growing roadblocks local citizens have been putting up to new renewable projects on the landscape. The devil, you say? The peasants are getting uppity and we must legislate against it? Balderdash. The bill also contains a range of provisions under the label of empowerment. Of fucking course it does. It would, among other things, establish the Office of Environment. Oh my fucking god. I need a moment. I need a moment and a drink before I get to this paragraph. Oh Lord, stay my hand. Mhm. The bill also contains a range of provisions under the label empowerment. It would, among other things, establish an Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights, codify the Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights to the EPA, codifying the White House Environmental Justice and Interagency Council, provide for development of an interagency federal environmental justice strategy to address current and historical environmental injustice, and designate tribal community engagement officers in each category. I am going to fucking vomit. Fuck. See? Clown World integration. There's integration with Clown World. I can't even. Well, it will cost a lot. That's all you need to know. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I like this. There's a final huge kicker near the end of the bill that has nothing to do with energy transmission lines. It would amend the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to prohibit disparate impact discrimination. See, they always slide something. They always slide something in there. In an energy bill, they slide on just a tip, of this fucking progressive shit. Wow, I sure love every government institution existing entirely for grieving mongering. Yes, it's almost like the federal government, that is to say, all federal governments are a fucking organized mob scam. Oh my god. This was an article about the fucking power grid. Getting back to the main thrust of CETA, when Paul Krugman wrote it would take bureaucratic miracle to fix the electricity grid and make the whole thing work, he must have been fantasizing about CETA. CETA is that fantasy and more. Oof. uh, oh god. Next. Uh, in other news of an individual who I want to choke to death, COVID-19 may come from Chinese laboratory, Dr. Fauci's former boss says. You don't fucking say. COVID-19 may have come from a laboratory in China, a former National Institute of Health director said in recent closed-door testimony. This guy. Dr. Francis Collins, NIH director until late 2021, said that the theory of COVID 19 came from a lab in Wuhan is not a conspiracy theory, according to U.S. House of Representatives Select Committee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. I can't talk. I need another drink. Blah blah blah. The, for- the former officials were brought in as part of the panel investigation how the government responded to the pandemic. Dr. Collins and Dr. Fauci prompted the drafting of a paper called Proximal Origins that was published in early 2020 and claimed to disprove the lab leak theory. According to an email from one of the authors, neither Dr. Collins nor Dr. Fauci were names in the acknowledgments or lists of co-authors of the paper. Yeah, because I remember this. It was just some nebulous paper from these people with no names on it. It was the fucking wildest thing at the time. I wonder why. I hope the Nature Medicine article on genomic sequence of SARS-CoV-2 was settled this, wondering if there's something the NIH could do to help put down this very disruptive conspiracy. Anything more we can do, Dr. Collins wrote at the time. Fast forward saying it's not from the lab. Now they're saying it's from the lab. Fucking clowns. Fuck these people. Never forgive, never forget. This this testimony directly contradicts Dr. Fauci's previous statements and raises further concerns about the U.S. government's role in suppressing and vilifying lab leak hypothesis, said a panel which chaired by Representative Brad Winstrup, Republican, Ohio. Well, looks like Ohio actually did something good for once. Other statements. Dr. Fauci also, yeah, I covered this the other day. So, Dr. Fauci said social distancing or rules that required or advised people to maintain 6 feet of distance from others was not entirely based on any idea. It just sort of happened. Yeah, fuck that guy too. Yeah, so Fauci got all the press and stuff because he was like the face of the face of everything and stuff. But he wasn't just him; it was also him and all of his buddies. So fuck these people. Okay, this one's a little weird. John Deere partners with Elon Musk's Starlink to unlock vast opportunities. Deere and Company, the world's largest tractor maker, announced Tuesday morning it's entered into agreement with Elon Musk's SpaceX company to provide high-speed satellite internet to farmers across U.S. and Brazil in the second half of the year. Utilizing the industry-leading Starlink network, the solution will allow farmers facing real connectivity challenges to fully leverage precision agricultural technologies, Deere wrote in the press release. This will allow John Deere customers to be productive, profitable, stable in their operations as they continue to provide food, fuel, fiber for the communities and a growing population. I'm just going to continue reading because I have opinions on this. The value of connectivity to farmers is broader than any single task or action. Connectivity unlocks vast opportunities that were previously limited or unavailable. Aaron Wetzel, Vice President of Production and Precision Agriculture Production Systems at John Deere. There you again. Same time. According to all things. There's one point I really want to hammer in. Okay, so it's not really gone. Okay, so I have several thoughts on this. Why go through John Deere? Like, okay, look, pretend you're a farmer. Why would I go through John Deere for internet when I could go through Elon Musk directly for Starlink? Now, I say this. It's like, why go through John Deere to get the Elon Musk for that there? Because John Deere is not about the customer. Like anyone who watches Lewis Rossman knows this and stuff. John Deere is all about their proprietary shit. Here's why I think John Deere wants to get in with Starlink, because they want their equipment to be like internet capable, especially like satellite internet capable, so that they can shut down whenever your license expires. I guarantee it. That's what they're trying to do here. Is that John Deere wants to like Internet of Things, everything that they sell, So that if you're in arrears of payment for your subscription service for your fucking goddamn tractor, which you use to farm food, it's like if you want to subvert their fucking proprietary shit for doing your own repairs and all that stuff, they can just shut you right down. This is exactly what they want to do. Mark my words. And this is fucking wild. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this because this is fucking Orwellian. I know 1984 gets thrown around a lot, but Jesus fucking Christ, this is fucking insane. You know, like this article doesn't say anything about that there, but I swear that's exactly what they're doing. Is just to have all their equipment connected to the internet via satellite internet, and just like you're just leasing a product. You don't own it. You're leasing it. That's all it is. I swear to God. I need I'm getting worked up. Wow. Turkey boycotts World Economic Forum over Klaus Schwab's stance on Gaza. Okay, this is another instance of asshole versus asshole, and I'm all here for it. Turkish President Erdogan had told his country's officials not to attend the World Economic Forum at Davos this week due to the organizers' position on Israel's war on Palestinians in Gaza, Bloomberg reported this week, citing sources close to the matter. Treasury and Finance Minister Mehmet Simsek, Goatfucker. Treasury and Finance Minister Goatfucker was planning to attend the annual gathering of political and business leaders until Chief Goatfucker, who has criticized Israel's conduct of its war in Gaza, stopped him from going, the Bloomberg report says, citing unnamed sources. The World Economic Forum spokesman said the serious security and humanitarian situation in the Middle East will be a key focus. We will be providing a platform for key shareholders from the region and beyond to share views on how to de-escalate and find a way back to diplomacy in this respect. We also have over 150 leaders from the Arab world, including a high-level Palestinian representative, they said. Founder and chair of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, the Fuhrer, has called a Hamas a terrorist organization, while Erdogan has on multiple occasions described it as a political party that won past elections and a liberation organization. Again, I said it before and I'll say again, Turkey should never have been let into NATO. And I'm sure they've all been saying that since day one. Bloomberg reports that the decision made by Chief Goatfucker to withdraw Turkey's top official from the summit complicates Turkey's efforts to reconnect with global investors after years of unconventional policies drove them away. Yep, I have a feeling they're not coming back. Chief Goatfucker has been very vocal about his support for the Palestinian resistance since the early days of the war, referring to Israel's actions as inhumane. The Turkish head of state previously said that Israel can view Hamas as a terrorist organization along with the West. The West owes you a lot, but Turkey does not owe you anything. Yep, but we don't owe you anything either there. Hey, Goatfucker. Goldfucker then said Hamas was not a terrorist organization, but a group of freedom fighters defending their land. Israel is implementing a strategy of total destruction of the city along with people. I say openly that Israel is a terrorist state. If Israel continues the massacres, it will register everywhere as a terrorist state, cursed all over the world, Goldfucker said in November 2023. Yeah, this is kind of like the case of COP28. Like when COP28 happened the other month and stuff, like all the Saudis were like, okay, all you Western white people can him and ha about the environment all you want. We are oil producing countries. We don't give a fuck about this shit. And go fucker here is kind of the same deal. It's like, all right, we are a terrorist country. We don't give a fuck about you guys and all this stuff. So fuck off. It's great. It's asshole versus asshole. Again, I'm here for it. The World Economic Forum continues. Watch globalists. World Economic Forum speak complains X is toxic, scary. Musk policies are problematic. Is that a man or a woman? Is that a man or a woman? The globalist Davos confab has gotten underway, and they're already talking about how evil Elon Musk and X is, with one guest complaining that a platform formerly known as Twitter is toxic and now its new name is scary. World Economic Forum elites flock to Switzerland in the private jets and helicopters and will stay there all week with arch globalist Klaus Schwab, the Führer, at the helm. A juicy tidbit has already emerged with Harvard professor of history and science Naomi Orsic and president of Swiss University's Lucinia Vacco whining about how dangerous problematic X is. Blah, 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 toxic place, blah, 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 giving up an X. What a scary name is that? Blah, blah, blah. Must respond to the comments noting X is literally just a letter from the alphabet. Laugh my ass off. Vaccaro charged that it is a policy that the owner that is problematic, presumably referring to Musk's dedication to free speech on the platform. She also declared, I think one day will come to the moment of code of conduct this take place. I think there will be a societal reflection on how information is bought. Fuck off, you communist globalist piece of shit. Okay. This has been making the round, so I figure I would mention it. This is just another nail in the coffin of why I don't want to use YouTube anymore. Like beyond me personally getting a medical mis misinformation strike is that YouTube fucking sucks. YouTube accused of throttling CPU performances for users with AdBlock installed. Now, a bunch of people have already done tests on this here, is that if you open up YouTube and you have like an ad blocker installed, it'll throttle your system. You know, not just like the download speed, it will like take away, like it'll eat up a shit ton of your processing power and shit like that. It's fucking wild. As if the noticeably longer ads on YouTube weren't unbearable enough, the streaming video platform is now also spotlight due to slowing down PCs for users that have AdBlock installed. That was the topic of a new PCGamer.com article, which noted that AdBlock users have been reporting widespread performance issues with the extension enabled on YouTube. A thread in the YouTube subreddit detailed the AdBlock enabling would cause slow load times, increase CPU usage when on YouTube. This messes up resources on the computer as a whole. It just kills Chrome, it seems, one person wrote. The author tested the issue himself and found that CPU usage rose about 17% when using AdBlock on the site. While not a catastrophic increase in processor use, the author did note lower end laptops may be used for browsing and could start having heat problems. The issue also affects YouTube Premium subscribers using AdBlock on other sites, frustrating users who expect an ad-free experience in line with YouTube's terms of service. User Jotaro Kujo XXX mentioned their laptop's unusually high activity, while another user suspected storage issues. Sarah James, a Guys writer, observed 15 to 18% of performance drop when using the extension with Premium. Excuse me. YouTube's communication manager, Christopher Lawton, indicated that such issues will persist as the platform enhances its ad blocker detection. Consequently, YouTube often gets blamed for any extension-related problems, though in some cases it may not be directly responsible. Lawton told PC Gamer loading delays experienced by AdBlock and AdBlock Plus users are not caused by our ad blocker detection efforts. Bullshit. Raymond Hill of uBlock Origins also commented about the issue on Twitter. I investigated a bit performance regressions and causes and made it is many distinct code paths which affect many sites. Since it affects both AdBlock Plus and AdBlock, the performance regression hits harder those who had bad idea use both at once, he wrote. So, I don't like YouTube. There's another reason why I don't like YouTube. There's a reason why I don't have a tab of YouTube open anymore to look at my subscription feeds, which is why my phone notifications going off left, right, and center because I got notifications turned on, so shit goes to my phone for when anyone streams or if there's a video on. Because I don't want to have YouTube open all the time, eating up my goddamn CPU processes. Because fuck these guys. Fuck them. Throw them, throw the people who run YouTube in with the wood chipper along with the pedos and commies. Ah, yes, this. Water first. Democrats and their mainstream media lackeys forgot to get facts over Texas illegal immigrant drownings, Abbott says. Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican Texas, said on Monday Democrats forgot the facts before accusing Texas authorities of preventing Border Patrol from rescuing drowning illegal immigrants in the Rio Grande. Contrary to allegations leveled by a Democrat Congress member and the Biden administration, the Texas Military Department asserted on January 14th that the bodies of one adult woman and two children had already been recovered from the river by Mexican authorities before Border Patrol agents requested access to a fenced off 2.5-mile stretch of the southern border in Eagle Pass on January 12th. The Texas Military Department, which runs the National Guard, provided additional details about the incident in an updated statement on January 14th, once again calling the allegations wholly inaccurate. At the time Border Patrol requested access to drownings had occurred, Mexican authorities blah 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 blah. And blah 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 blah. Federal border agents requested access to the park to apprehend two additional illegal immigrants who crossed the Shelby Park boat ramp. These individuals were presumed to travel companions of the deceased, according to the agency. Additionally, TMD remained engaged with night vision goggles, thermals to ensure that no additional migrants were in the river or in distress. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so pretty much a bunch of illegals come across the river, a couple of them drown, and the Democrats are using that as a talking point to poo-poo the Republicans. Who could have foreseen this coming? It's almost like you shouldn't have a giant invitation open to your country and shouldn't have an unsecured border. And oh my. Just think how many lives, not just these two, just think how many lives could be saved if you had a secure border. Just. Yes, the Department of Homeland Security threatens lawsuit. The federal and Texas state governments have long clashed over border policies and jurisdiction. Texas argues its constitutional right to safeguard its borders independently. Correct. Citing the president's lack of enforcement of federal immigration laws, especially the state grapples with a huge surge of border crossings without ample federal support. Department of Homeland Security, citing tragic drownings, has threatened legal action against the state of Texas, asserting its actions to block federal border patrol agents from assessing Shelby Park are unconstitutional. Here's the thing. Maybe it won't be unconstitutional if the Border Patrol were to do their fucking jobs. Maybe the state wouldn't have a problem with them if they would do their fucking jobs. I see a very easy solution to all this. We demand Texas cease and desist its efforts to block Border Patrol's access to in and around Shelby Park area and remove all barriers to access Shelby Park area. Department of Homeland Security General Counsel Jonathan Mayer wrote to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Responding to the threat, Mr. Abbott said Biden is doing everything possible to eliminate strategies that actually prevent illegal immigrants from entering the country. Texas will continue to use every tool available to block illegal immigration. Good on you. I wish you luck. Home stretch. Anger in Davos after Iran. Financial Minister and CNN's Zakaria take spotlight on main stage. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Iranian Foreign Minister, other goatfucker, has warned that we are witnessing an expansion of the conflict in the Middle East. Many Western leaders and officials are present present are not happy that Iranian top diplomat was given prominence on the main stage of Davos Wednesday, which included an interview with CNN's Fareed Zakaria. During that discussion, Goldfucker boasted that Iran's ballistic missile attack in northern Iraq on Monday targeted elements and agents of Mossad and Erbil. There are reports that a building used as a Mossad headquarters in the region was blown up by a short-range ballistic missile strike. Below the images, the below image has circulated widely on social media, purported to show the destroyed alleged Israeli intelligence center. Eh. As for the Iranian foreign minister's presence at Davos stage, it reportedly drew a huge media presence, and Politico captured some of the shock and anger among attendees in the blog entry called Iran Comes to Town. Iran in the Spotlight, one of the international community's best known pariah states, Iran will have pride of place at the World Economic Forum today when the foreign minister Goldfucker is interviewed by CNN's Fareed Zakaria in the Congress Center. The Iranian's appearance is scheduled in a few hours. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken graces the stage. Don't expect any fist bumps in the corridors. Courting controversy. Goldfucker was a relatively last-minute addition to the schedule, a move that's being slammed by groups like United Against Nuclear Iran. That doesn't really roll off the tongue. Interesting company. One of Goldfucker's recent international visits was to Qatar, where he met with other Goldfucker, the head of political bureau of Hamas, and a couple days ago, Goldfucker spoke by phone with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Iran has also been accused of U.S. arming Houthis, even as the Yemeni rebel group rages war on international shipping in the Red Sea. Sky News Arabia is also newly cited as a U.S. defense official who says Houthis have prepared plans to target U.S. bases in the Arab region. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Assholes versus assholes. Again, I find it amusing. Okay, so this is how this guy still has a job is beyond me. Just lip balming. Very winter, very dry. Thank you, Blistex. This stream not sponsored by Blistex. Okay, Lloyd Austin 911 call reveals aid wanted no lights and sirens, discreet transport. The 911 call for Secretary Lloyd Austin's January 1st admission to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center has been released, and it shows that from the very first moment of his health emergency, his aides and staff tried to make it discreet. Can the ambulance not show up with lights and sirens? We're trying to remain a little subtle, said the caller, whose identity hasn't been released. The ambulance later arrived to a resident on Austin's Street in Virginia. The 911 audio file from the Fairfax County Public Safety Department was obtained through the Freedom of Information Act requests and first reported by Daily Beast and subsequently released by CBS and others. The whole audio exchange, wherein the caller clearly doesn't want neighbors or the public, for that matter, to know is made all the more interesting in light of what unfolds communication-wise during the week following, in which even the White House was kept in the dark while the Pentagon chief was in intensive care unit for several days, as we detailed before. According to more details in the recording, the 911 recording partly redacted information about Austin's medical condition, as well as primary complaint. The records include a series of unredacted answers to questions from the dispatcher about his condition. Austin didn't have chest pain, and he did feel like he was going to pass out, according to the caller's answers. The caller also said Allison was alert and hadn't vomited blood in his stool. One of the dispatcher's questions was redacted. The caller also asked whether it was possible for the ambulance to take Austin to Walter Reed in Bethesda. The dispatcher asked the caller to let the medics know when they arrived. The medical episode was reportedly due to complications resulting from an earlier prostate cancer treatment, and Austin stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks and now is currently said to be working from home. The White House has meanwhile stonewalled inquiries, merely stating we don't want this to happen again. Austin has faced increasing calls from congressional leaders and former defense officials to resign given they failed properly to notify commander in chief. Also, at the moment of I love you, Zero Hedge, but typing format. Yeah, whatever. Austin said he's taking full responsibility and would have done a better job ensuring the public was appropriately informed, yet has refused to resign. President Biden has at the same time said he would not accept Austin's resignation if he were to try to step down. The scandal Republicans would likely seize upon going to the November election, as they should. Okay, ending on COVID. CDC drafted alert for myocarditis and COVID-19 vaccines, but never sent it. Huh. I need a drink because I'm going to get angry with this one. Oh. Good timing because I just ran out of water. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention prepared to alert state and local officials to an emerging connection between heart inflammation and COVID-19 vaccines, but ultimately did not send the alert, according to a new document obtained by the Epoch Times. Dr. Demeter Daskalakis of the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Washington photograph. Let's see, all four COVID-19 vaccines that are or have been available in the United States can cause. Oh, I can't talk anymore. Can cause heart inflammation or myocarditis, according to studies, experts, and agencies like the CDC. The first case was reported shortly after the vaccines became available in late 2020. The CDC sends alerts to federal, state, and local public health officials and doctors across the nation through a system called Health Alert Network. Messaging through the system conveys vital health information according to the CDC. In May 2021, CDC officials drafted an alert on myocarditis, and the two widely used COVID-19 shots, according to the newly obtained document, which was being made public for the first time by Epoch Times. This is the most recent draft of alert, as discussed. Happy to discuss. Dr. Demeter, the CDC top official for equity. Oh my God, official for equity in COVID-19 data and engagement, told two other high-ranking CDC colleagues in the email. CDC drafted an alert on COVID-19 vaccines but never sent it. This email shows it was titled Draft Alert on Myocarditis and mRNA Vaccines. This censorship of a proposed alert in May of 2021 is just one more example of our regulatory agency's repeated pattern of behavior to censor any information that serves to counter the narrative that the COVID-19 vaccinations are safe and effective. Dr. Joe Walskog, co-chair of the Vaccine Injury Advocacy Group React 19, told Epoch Times via email the CDC started to receive reports of post-vaccination myocarditis in January 2021, and either failed to detect or ignored a safety signal for myocarditis and the mRNA shots for the following month. Previous reporting from the Epoch Times showed the agency also hid a label from Israel, the country's first vaccinated young people who face the highest risk of myocarditis from it. The CDC and other agencies have also repeatedly not disclosed other information that undermines their promotion of the vaccines, including how many COVID-19 cases there were among the vaccinated. Blah, blah, blah. The first alert related to COVID-19 vaccines was issued on April 13, 2021. It was for a combination of blood clotting and low platelet levels after Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. 1 month later, CDC officials considered the alert for COVID-19 vaccine myocarditis, but by the time hundreds of cases have been reported in Israel, the United States, and other countries, including 2 deaths in Israel and 1 death in the United States, that's a double standard. Dr. Tracy Hoag, an epidemiologist based in California, who was one of the first U.S. experts to challenge the CDC narrative in post-vaccination myocarditis, told the Epoch Times, why would they issue one for Johnson & Johnson vaccine for blood clots, but not for myocarditis post mRNA vaccination? We had data from our own Department of Defense at the time indicating there was a real safety signal and 2 post-fatal Pfizer vaccination myocarditis cases had already been reported in Israel. Dr. Hook says CDC officials involved in the draft should testify. I think it's going to be crucial to figure out who decided that the alert shouldn't have been sent at all, sent after all, after they already apparently written it. It would be nice to have one of the people included in the email testify before Congress about how it was determined the alert about post RNA vaccination markers should not be released. Yeah, so it's kind of important. So it's just like, hey, we know this is a thing, but let's not let's keep that on the down low. It's like, fuck these guys. They want you dead. That's all there is to it. The Hippocratic Oath died a long time ago. Every day, every time I see one of these things, it's just like the Hippocratic Oath died. It died a long time ago. Fuck these people. And that's all I got. Very tired because I spent all of yesterday. I spent all of Monday and a bit of yesterday clearing snow. I am fucking tired. Uh, was doing so good, and then we got one giant snow dump. Took me a couple days to move all that snow, but I got my exercise. Oh phone, why are you beeping? I don't care about Microsoft. Oop. Trying to think if there's anything else going on. Go peek in Proctor's server, see what's going on. 203 messages. What the fuck? Yeah, see if there's anything worthwhile. Mm-hmm. Moth Enjoyer is 23. Apparently older than Harrow. Reading. Scrolling. From Angry Sushi. It's zombie time, boys. Heavily drunk American passenger 55 allegedly bit a flight attendant's arm, forcing Seattle bound plane to return to Tokyo so he could be escorted off and arrested. Well, Florida had zombies not too long ago, so okay. Seattle person in Japan. High School of Dead is going to start. And that's that. Oh, I am tired all of a sudden. To be fair. Okay, so a little fun biology fact for anyone who cares. So part of the human diurnal cycle is that during the normal human waking hours, people have two low points in the day. For as far as being awake and alert, there are two low points during your waking hours, and these hours for every person is different. And I know mine down to a science, and my low point is 11 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. So 11 in the morning, 3 afternoon, I'm fucking dead. And it's already like 2:30 and creeping on 3. It's like I've gone like 38 years without taking naps in the afternoon because it fucks up my sleep schedule. But I'm kind of getting to that point of the low point at 3. The low point at 3 is kind of just like, oh my god, this is an insurmountable hump for me at this point. It's like, oh god, I might start taking naps. uh, hmm. Okay, so another point of news before I sign off. I floated the idea to watch and discuss Yuri Bezmenov with Empraise, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet. She's leaving my DMs unread. sad emoji. I'm still kind of enthused at this idea of like, have you heard about this ex KGB agent and his teachings? I'm praying to high heavens for this, for her own personal sake. Yes, she's heard of him and knows what he's talking about and stuff. But if she comes back at me with a no, I'm gonna have so much fun. It's like, okay, going to educate you on subversion, because I know your fucking school won't. Uh, I want the, I swear to God, I want my next collab with Empraise to just watch an edited version of his longer interview, specifically the interview video. I'm sure most of us have seen a million times at this point, and not the long lectures and stuff. But even like the sit down interview is over an hour and a half long. But I found like a 15-minute like supercut of it. Hopefully we can turn that into a stream. That'd be fun. And I gotta stop talking with my hands because talking with my hands covers up the camera and causes VTube Studio to spaz out. Okay, I'm gonna go top up my water and probably lay down. So thanks for coming. Take it easy, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.